Let's start with leadership today in retail is tested in intersections between strategy and execution, ambition and operational reality, legacy systems and emerging formats. And this is where Omnichannel now lives. We look at commerce not as a single checkout moment, but as a continuous experience flowing across discovery, engagement, transaction, and fulfillment, across social, digital, physical stores, and increasingly invisible payments. We will explore together what actually breaks and when speed becomes the exception and how organizations is designed for instant gratification and where leadership decisions, not technology, make the biggest difference. So let's start with a quick one for warming up the audience. Omnichannel today isn't about being present everywhere, as mentioned, it's about removing friction everywhere. We will start with Aaryan. From your vantage point, where does friction still exist, even though most of organizations today says they are digitally mature?
Perfect question to begin with. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. A very good afternoon. My name is Aaryan Kapur, and I head the group-wide digital marketing for Aster DM Healthcare across clinics, hospitals, pharmacies, opticals, and the digital platforms. And to answer your question, I think it's a twofold vantage point for me. Especially given that I'm sitting centrally across these different businesses and geographies, is to see things both from an internal stakeholder point of view as well as an external stakeholder point of view. So while for the customer or the patient in our case, they are looking for seamless integration across different touch points, be it going to a clinic, hospital or pharmacy or any other Aster facility or Medcare for that matter of fact, which also falls under the same umbrella. For them, they are looking for a seamless journey at the end of the day. However, of how the companies are structured, that I think, especially for legacy enterprises, that sort of poses the biggest challenge in leading this entire digital transformation and omni-channel journeys across the different touch points. So as a digital transformation and omni-channel leader, I think it becomes inevitable to connect these both internal and external stakeholder expectations. And I think that is the starting point of reducing this friction, followed by creating a value showcase mechanism in which we can clearly highlight how each, not just from how each stakeholder benefits, not just from a revenue standpoint, but even from an customer experience point of view.
Amazing one, and let me jump into that one right away to actually understand if the friction already exists. Is it organizational or it is only like technology one? To you, Ankit.
For me, yeah. So thanks. Thank you so much, Maz, for that question. So I'm Akshay. I head e-commerce for Babyshop, which is part of the Landmark Group. So it's a very good question. And from my experience leading the digital business in a overall omni-channel retailer, a legacy retailer, I think it's as important from a technology and operations side to reduce friction as it is from an organizational side. So I think a lot of times the internal frictions take a lot more time than, managing processes and the tech part of it. So I completely agree with what Aaryan said. I think it's really important to get organizational buy-in first, ensure that everyone right from, the top management, and it doesn't end there. A lot of people think that once the CEO has signed off something, it happens. You also need the person at the shop floor to even agree and also align with what you want to drive, because he's the person where the rubber hits the road, right? So I think usually we see a mix of, if things don't work out, it's usually an organizational misalignment, and then the other misalignments begin.
And that's a great point, because from a customer-centric approach, we see that when we do have that fraction, organizationally speaking, that goes into the customer experience. So is that friction also, and question to you, Pamela, real quick, is it visible to customers, or is it just like internally when rolling out some new technology or some new tool? Would that affect the customer as well, and that customer will see the friction?
I'm Pamela Opie, CEO and founder of Linen Obsession. So we are a bedding specialist. Yes, a really good question. Obviously, it depends on the project and the scope of implementation. We are all aiming that our customers don't see those issues, so that friction that might result from the lack of the different departments quite getting it right together. What I would probably say is one of the most important areas of friction that we see is the whole area of product discovery. I know we're all talking about product discovery endlessly, but still a customer comes onto your website and we still have the very classic structure of here's the product, here's all the technical details on it. But when you're in quite a technical area, for example, like believe it or not, bed linen is technical. People want to know, why should I buy this pillow instead of that one? Or why should it be linen? We were talking about that beforehand, about frequency of different fabrics. So I think there's a lot of friction for customers as they're going through trying to compare the products on the product pages, because you're going in, you're going out, you have to remember how do you compare it, you know? So yeah, to me that's quite a common area that most of us need to get better at.
Great point, and we would jump to you, Khateeb, in grocery, where speed and availability are non-negotiable. What has been harder to fix, last mile execution or back-end integration between stores, inventory, and digital channels?
Hi. Actually, now what this question is really reflecting what we are seeing now in the grocery. They need the speed delivery with credibility of execution. Based on the experience, I had noticed that the back-end integration is more harder than last mile execution to manage. Because last mile is, everyone knows it's very operational and it's tough, but still can be manageable by scale the riders, route optimization, or even deal with a strong partner. He can deliver your promise.
True.
But the challenges is behind scenes that the integration, stock inventory, and all the multifunction system you have to integrate with the application, all this one, which is if the company is not believe on it and they is not invest properly, the integration will not be seamless and going to the user interface. So and we can see this one clearly in big retailer or international like Walmart or Tesco. They invest heavily for accuracy of the stock inventory in the store level to avoid all this issue. And if we want to go more further, there's Otco also. They make further even they make dedicated system to eliminate the inventory in the store. This one. At our scale, at Emirates scope, what we are trying to do, because due to the investment and all this one, we're trying to control the stock at the store level and to ensure that what's in the promotion align with the shelf shelf availability, to ensure that this one is reflecting in the digital platform, and ensure the customer what they can see in the platform and application is already reflected in the shelf. On top of this one, we train our pickers. We enhance the workflow of the pickers to ensure all that integration and all the customer journey are good due to fulfillment, stock availability, align with the promotion. What we have learned after all this journey, that the stock availability, it's become before the speed delivery. Because there's no meaning to make a speed delivery or fast delivery if the item is not there.
Correct. And that's one of the points that I want to just follow up on. That checkout becomes more invisible anyway between all, I would say, grocery retailers. So where exactly the grocery retailers would differentiate themselves? Would be like with the price or with the loyalty? What would be your intake on this one? We have many players in the market.
Now this kind of development of all retail store that to invisible cash count checkout and but this one is making the expectation more rise for the customers. If you eliminate the checkout, the customer they will say what next? Okay. So of course the price will still the matter in all retail grocery. Mm-hmm. But it's not only the differentiate with what the customer they decide to go. There's another factors is making the differentiation like experience, quality, delivery on time, and all this one. So what we can see example like for Amazon also Freshmart, they don't rely on loyalty program. They rely on consistency and delivery quality. Mm-hmm. So they make a loyalty about the credibility and reliability, not only for price and points. And at our stage in a grocery store at Emirates Coop, we have to ensure that the customer they receive what they want when they need. So here the loyalty will move to trust, not only to the point or loyalty program.
Great point. So what you're describing is about the speed alone, but rather than the trust and building on the reliability itself. Yes. With the others. Great, thanks Khateeb. To you, Pamela, for linen obsession, and obviously many of us are linen obsessed already. So where we started, we discussed back on the backstage, you started as an e-commerce, fully e-commerce, and then you went into the physical retail. So you are doing that already backwards. So the question to you, where the constraints still exist, especially when you decide on how much to invest into new technology before proving the scalability first, going into physical retail?
Thank you. As you said, we started with the e-commerce site first before we did our own retail, and I think that was a really great journey for us because we'd already established a customer and we already knew what they were looking for, and so that made it so much easier for us to then launch completely omnichannel because it came from e-commerce to start with. So that made it so much easier. In terms of investing for the infrastructure, etc. Look, it not being the size of Landmark, etc. Obviously, there's a lot of giant companies with huge infrastructures and big providers working with them in that area. So it's always challenging. I think as a smaller medium-sized company, what you do, but we also have advantages, and that's where we can respond so much quicker. We can implement things so much quicker because we don't have so many different managers across the different parts of the technology space. And also because we're not on a huge legacy system. It's not your own built website from the beginning. Actually, although in many ways people always push, oh, you should build your own website, it's your IP, etc. But actually, unless you're going to have a whole suite of huge specialists in this this area that's always increasing in technical difficulty, it's actually quite good to stay nimble and to stay with a leading platform who has all those tech heads, and they have to stay ahead of the pack. They have to implement all of those options. Otherwise, they lose their market share, because I think as a smaller to medium player, you can't really keep up with all that and the investment that you would need. That is really my answer. So partner with the best who are doing it for you.
Which is great. Like you just mentioned the small, medium, and when it comes to your actual now industry, there are some pretty large retailers. So it is an advantage to be agile, and this is proved in your transition plan from an e-commerce into physical retail as well, and having that hybrid one. So what would be like one friction based on your agility, you actually removed it quicker than a large retailer, would have due to the complexity of that retailer versus to you?
Sure. There's actually one area we're really working on at the moment, and it's relevant to our business model particularly because we're a deep linen specialist. So people come to us expecting to be able to ask any question about linen and get a recommendation, and we can help them. So that means we have a highly assisted sales conversion. So people who just come on, buy a duvet cover set, buy a pillow, a duvet, they'll just do it online like any website. But the customers who spend a lot, they all end up talking on literally, normally WhatsApp it's been, to our sales representatives.
Amazing.
But then, where do we go with this in the age of AI, etc.? So we've been working really hard on an AI shopping assistant who can answer all of those deep questions, but the challenge is in a way that doesn't overwhelm the customer who just doesn't want to know all that. Do you know what I mean? So it's about how to get, I think as a smaller company, we can certainly do it on a smaller time frame, but also we have a very specialist customer value proposition where we are so passionate about linen, we know everything about it, you know. So we can bring that into how we answer those questions. So that's what we're working on at the moment on our AI shopping assistant. And yeah, we're looking to implement that, you know, within a couple of months, which I think is quite short.
Great. I mean, the tension between agility and discipline shows up across every scale. So amazing to hear that from your side. To you, Akshay, going into the baby and kids retail, which involves trust, reassurance, and repeat behavior. Speaking out of experience myself, how have you redesigned your customer journey and omnichannel specifically to break that kind of lack of trust and being able, from a customer perspective, to buy baby and kids very important items online?
Sure, thanks, Moaz. I think the category that I represent is very, very trust-driven, very emotional category, and we have to understand the target customer. So a mother and we catered from ages 0 to all the way up till 16, but the acquisition starts when a child is born. And we all know motherhood is not the easiest thing around, right? So, I mean, how do you cater to a mother who's overstimulated? How do you ensure you give her the right information? So, I think I just want to start with a line that, you know, friction can slow down a customer, right? But hesitation stops them entirely. So, I think they're very different, emotions, right? Or situations. So there are certain, I think the way, and I'll give an answer through how we're thinking, and there are a lot of things between this that we have implemented, but the way this needs to be done is you have to solve for the hesitation, right? Certain steps increase friction, certain steps have hesitation built in. So is it friction on product discovery, as Pamela mentioned? Is it once you reach the product, you don't have the right information for the product? The friction could build in during checkout where you're giving a code, or the customer is like, oh, do I have a code to use? Or will this code work on everything? And is there some hidden charge built in? So after you said it's 25 dirham, then you're adding VAT, then you're adding delivery fees. So I think friction can start at the discovery phase and end for post-return. So I think the ways to actually solve this is give the mother the feeling of trust. So it could be that, you know, these are, let's say, parent approved or let's say mother approved products, which could mean that, you know, there is greater trust on that, almost like an Amazon's choice. Or ensuring that there is some sort of assisted selling. So how can we connect this customer to maybe an expert? So we have a huge store presence, right? How can we ensure that somebody from there or an AI assistant can help them, you know, make that choice? The third thing is touch and feel. So, I mean, a lot of websites or online platforms struggle because they can't provide touch and feel. But we actually have an asset, we have a store. So how can we ensure that the customer knows that this is in the closest store near you, and you can actually walk in and touch and feel that product? So I think there are various ways one can reduce friction, reduce hesitation, but we must remember that all hesitation is not bad. How do you manage the hesitation is what actually...
Exactly, and which brings me to the next point where most, I would say, like above 80% that from that journey when it comes to the baby material and baby items, start with searching online, but ending up maybe also physically speaking. So what have you fixed into that hybrid customer journey latest? What would you maybe wanted to fix at early stage?
No, so I think we have worked a lot on our omni-channel journeys. So I'm sure the easiest thing is to spend a lot and get the customer onto your platform. But I think what we've fixed recently is ensuring the customer gets support and can actually use a store staff to help them. We've also fixed journeys where a customer is at the store and doesn't find a particular product. The customer is guided to the online channel, true omni-channel experience. That's taken a long time for us to sort of resolve. So we fixed those parts of it, right? And we've got both channels talking together. I think we need to do a lot more work on the assisted part of it. So I think I'm also very, very keen to explore more AI models on how, assisted selling we're sort of still at the cusp of all of that. But yeah, I think that's where we are. And I mean, there is a huge amount of work to be done in this space, and I really look forward to that.
Great, great.
Talk to me after the event.
To you, Ankit, into fashion, which is my personal sweet spot as well. Fashion discovery now happens everywhere. Social influencers, store windows. Where does actual conversion happen? Is it like through referral from an influencer that you participated with? Is it because when the click actually happened? Where do you see the conversion happens into that discovery fashion scene nowadays?
Thank you. Hi, came in a little late for my answer. So I'm Ankit Tanna. I had e-commerce and omnichannel for Sacoor Brothers. It's a Portuguese brand. Some of you might have heard about them or not. But has a huge presence here in the GCC and doing really well. Apart from Sacoor, in the last few years of my experience with e-commerce with other brands, I've had the luxury of working mostly with premium and luxury brands across my experiences in GCC and India. I was also heading e-commerce for Reliance brands, and one of the responsibilities was to launch all international brands in India online. So based on this experience, I think the most important thing for premium luxury, especially fashion brands, the discovery is very fragmented now. Referrals, influencers, paid ads, organic, CRM. Most important thing is where the customer makes a decision. So earlier for online especially, we always thought optimize the checkout pages, optimize the cart pages. That is where the conversion happens. But that's not the case anymore from experience. Conversion actually happens at each point of decision, each point of interaction for a particular touch point for a particular customer. And the final stage of purchase is just a document of validity. They just come there. The decision is already made by the time they reach the checkout or the conversion pages. Important thing for a premium luxury brand to do is to ensure there is consistency across all touch points, right communication, right messaging, no differentiation, different messaging in CRM, different messaging in other touch points. Consistency is super important for customers. They, be it online, be it offline, like Khateeb was mentioning that pricing in offline and online should be exactly the same. For a customer in any of the touch points, they should not feel that offline is separate from online or vice versa. They should feel it's one brand, uniformity and consistency for customers.
So to that point exactly, specifically in the premium luxury segment, as a consumer behavior shifts towards like instant gratification, and in the premium and luxury segment, how can you balance between that without diluting the actual brand and remaining premium as well?
I think, example from Akshay and Pamela, building trust with customers and the confidence in them through all means is extremely important. So, touching upon all the points previously mentioned, understanding what is the perspective a customer comes from, and in educating the customers, building that loyalty with the customers, and making the customers feel extra special. How do we make customers feel served, deserved, and extra special? By offering them something which is different or something which is not available for them. They should feel important. They should feel that a brand is thinking about them. So few good things which I can mention about Sacoor is in our loyalty programs, we have amazing services like there's a service called Barberia service where we've designed a super premium in-store barbering service for customers. The barber is from Brazil with all the certifications, and I've personally experienced it. He's got
We
all
can see it in
5-star
your haircut.
So if once a customer is a Sacoor customer, they get access to that service. It's completely complimentary for them. They can pre-book through the website or offline stores or a number and get this service. We also offer complimentary in-store tailoring for whatever they buy online, not only offline. So be it suits, blazers, anything. They can always visit any of the stores. We are available across all malls and do tailoring or customizations, whatever they want, complimentary.
So instant doesn't necessarily mean like a bit low value. It just means effortless and also combining that customer experience into one place. Great. Aaryan, healthcare is high intent, high trust, with very low tolerance for friction. Where has Omnichannel added value in patient and pharmacy journeys?
Right. I think given the paucity of time, I'll try to make it a bit quick.
We started a bit late, so all good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So, right. So coming from healthcare and especially sitting at the vantage point of looking at the omni-channel journey, I think it's super critical for us. And we started on this journey 4 years ago with a platform called the Aster app. Especially there was a time when all the healthcare providers were only offering offline services, and then with Aster we decided that we're going to integrate this entire ecosystem from the point of discovery to when you're not feeling well, to the point if you want to do a teleconsultation to begin with, you'll have the option to do that. And then if you want to further go and for an in-person appointment booking, you can do that. And in just one click, you can get your medicines delivered at home, and all the insurance approval and everything happens in the back end, and the delivery is free as well. On top of that, we also integrated the paperless initiative, wherein all your lab reports and your prescriptions are available on the app itself, right, all in one click. So I think what we saw after this was that previously, wherein one patient interacted with only one business, let's say pharmacy, and another patient who interacted with two businesses, we saw almost a 3 to 4x increment in the value that they were generating for the brand, right, in terms of revenue. And then a patient who interacted with actually all three offerings, let's say clinics, hospitals, and pharmacies, we saw almost a 8x increase in revenue, right? So for us, connecting journey was not only enhancing patient experience, which was also through a testament that Aster app became the #1 app in medical category on both App Store and Play Store, but also from a point of view of generating revenue for the company, which is more an outcome-based metric, more of a validation metric. But for us, it truly meant that connecting this journey was inevitable to go ahead. And in fact, there are numerous examples. Like for example, you can take the example of Amazon, since we were talking about grocery. Amazon sort of also delves down on the sunk cost fallacy, wherein as an additional thing, they use the free Prime membership, which then makes people feel that it is inevitable for them to only order from Amazon just for the sake of utilizing that membership, right, and satisfying the spend on that front by ordering from there, right? So with healthcare as well, we then built this entire loyalty program called the My Wealth loyalty, previously which was only available in pharmacies, but now even extending it to clinics and hospitals, making it one of the first program to not, I wouldn't say reward you for getting sick, but more from a point of view of supporting you in that entire journey from where you're going from a clinic to hospital to pharmacy, and even after that, let's say if you're going over medicines into supplements or nutrition or taking care of yourself, we want to still be there to support you, and that's where this entire connected loyalty piece also came into being to tie in the knot. So
Great closure, and listening to all of you across the different industries as well. Commerce is it's a continuous flow. It is not transaction led anymore. It's an experience led behavior between customer and provider. So thanks to everyone. Thanks to our panelists. Give it up to our panelists, and thanks for a bit of a delay in our side.